So fortunately or unfortunately, I got married 12 years back, so I missed all of the Tinder, Bumble, Hinge era of life. But I think the analogy is apt in some sense, right? So if you are always working remotely, it's unlikely that you will actually build a deep connect with either your peers, your manager, or the company, right? And I think that's to me one of the core advantages. So core disadvantages of working from home, because you may be able to deliver the outcome, right? If depending on the kind of context and the kind of role that you are actually performing, but the life skills that we were talking about earlier, right? Just you growing as a person. I think at whatever level you are, even leadership or a fresher, I don't think that happens unless you are around people, right? Most people, or maybe all people, grow by looking at what other people are doing, right? We are inherently tend to mimic in some form or the other. I think that is super important, right? For you to develop those relationships, because I mean, most of us are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever it is, right? A lot of your relationships in and outside of work tend to be people you met at work, right? If you don't have that, then like when you retire and you stopped working, what do you have, right? So that's my way of looking at this.
So I have observed this. So Jayesh, I wanted to come. So this is a fairly large organization that I hired a site reliability engineer for. The guy is a fantastic guy. The team that hired him is also a fantastic team. Okay, this guy joined. He worked there for about a couple of months, but the team never got the trust to share the entire credentials with the SRE. And this guy had been requesting it over multiple emails, multiple calls, and all of that. And they were like, yeah, but never went through. And then it went to a point that the SRE got really pissed off. And he's like, boss, I'm resigning. I cannot work. You don't give me access. I don't. The trust itself is in the basis of that employment is trust. The trust was never built. He wanted to sit out of Hyderabad and work for a Mumbai company, which wanted in person but agreed to remote because they did not have an option. And then eventually, after 2 months, it fell out. So it was a lose for all the three parties, including me.
Yeah.
So I had to refund the money. The candidate lost the job and was without a job for 2 months. And the company that took a gamble also, kind of went back on its stance. And all of this happened. Everybody is pissed off. And then there is a professional email saying that we really appreciate your association with the organization. We wish you the best and have a great career ahead. But this guy is cussing about that guy to me. That guy is cussing about this guy to me. But then, on an email, if you look at it, it looks all perfect.
Yeah.
So how do you think, working out of office is essential to building trust and also keeping your employment safe? And how easy it is, how easy it is a decision to fire an employee that you've known, met, and spent some time with versus somebody who you've never met. He's just another email ID.
Yeah, I agree that working from office is important to build trust. Okay. One thing that we did when we hired during COVID time was that we talked about the base location irrespective of the employee joining remotely, right? So we very clearly communicated that, hey, we are hiring you for Bangalore location. We operate out of Bangalore. Right now we are working remotely, but eventually when we come back to offices, Bangalore will be your base location. So we felt that it was prudent on us to be very transparent about our expectations and setting right expectations around being back at office whenever the situation would arise. So that was one thing we did. While we hired people remotely, we took extra effort to ensure that they felt part of the team, right? So there would be especially some kind of face-to-face connect, even if it is over some kind of remote tool, to talk to new employees, understand if they had all the tools and access everything in place for them to be productive and so on. So those were some of the actions we took. Now today, if you see in hybrid kind of setup, we see that employees realize that there is benefit to be at office. Benefits in terms of knowing other team members who they likely did not know if they joined during COVID period of time, working on some critical issues that get resolved faster if you are working at office face to face, and also new projects. Like for example, we see different flavors. So we have recently launched a new project which we at IBM call as Client Zero. So for example, IBM has a software product team, IBM has a research team. So they are building something new, and it needs to be jointly built with someone in-house so that they could scale it up and be the first users of that product. And our team is kind of working on one such product, and we realize that we almost have to work in a startup mode for such initiatives, and being face to face at office even more than 2-3 days that we usually do in hybrid mode makes so much difference in such a situation when we are working on something new, building something new. So we are seeing different flavors of hybrid within our teams also, depending on the kind of projects they are working on. So those aspects also make a difference in eventually deciding how we'll work and communicate.